I just want to invest in people that really want to be the best that they can be.
Hello, past clients and all our wonderful people on our database. My name's Todd Scrima, and I'm the CEO for Summit. We got Robyn, LaVassaur, we got Jim Reed, two of our very best leaders in the country, and we're talking today about household goal setting. And I'll do a little overview, and then we can dig a little bit deeper. There's a lot of different ways to set goals. What I was taught and what I've used for 20-something years is to set a couple goals for each of the 7 areas of my life. Yeah. And so if we take, family life, like set 2 very specific goals. The construct of this is that it has to be specific and measurable. So let's take a self goal. Okay, self. A lot of people use weight. So I wouldn't put in 2024, lose weight. I might say weigh 190 pounds on June 1st of 2024 and weigh 182 pounds on December 31st, as an example. They're specific, they're measurable with dates, and they have real numbers to them. And so this is not general, this is more specific on what you really want in those areas of your life. If it's money, you would say, I'm going to boost my 401k savings from 5% out of my paycheck to 8% by March 30th, right? Something like that. So, or a specific number, make it very specific. That's where people go wrong. So I was taught to a couple areas for each area of your life that are important to you, that you can get behind, things that you really want to do. And that's how I was taught goal setting. Jim, a couple thoughts on that?
Well, to kind of back up on goal setting, as a family, it is kind of a weird topic for a lot of people. And just saying that out loud should kind of embarrass us. Like, who else should you be setting goals with in your family? Like, I had this one guy, his name's Nate, he's a friend of mine, he works here. And I was around him for a whole 4 or 5 days. And I was just pretty blown away about what a good family man he is, because that's super important to me. And at the end of the trip, I'm like, hey, dude, you're a really good family man. And he looked at me and he's like, well, what else is there? It was just like, of course, what are you talking about? What else is there? And for some of us, we don't really realize that we work so hard at our jobs, you got to work that hard at your family, right? That's right. And I never really thought about it that way for a long time, but it's something you got to work at. So there's a lot of responsibility having a family. It's a lot, especially with teenage boys, which I have 5 of. It's crazy. So how bad would it be for me to not teach them goal setting? How selfish would it be for me to not teach them goal setting? Also, how expensive would it be for me to not teach them goal setting, right? It might cost me a lot of money. So I think the first thing to talk about is, dude, family. Yeah, we got to talk about goal setting. Second thing is, you got to make it really safe, because I never wanted to write down goals growing up. I was an athlete, and I had a couple mentors in coaching that coached me and wanted me to put down goals. And I always didn't want to, and always shy away from it, because I felt like if I write it down and then I don't do it, I'm a failure. And so I protected myself from the feeling of failure by not wanting to do the goals. And so I had to have someone give me permission that, hey, just because you write it down doesn't mean it has to happen. It's just a direction for you. It's just meant for you to know kind of where you want to be, and it'll help you make decisions along the way and take the pressure off of the feeling of failure. I think that's a big component within the family structure. And then to just do it when they're all together and they can't get out of the room. Don't tell them we're having a family meeting around goal setting. Wait till Christmas when everybody's there and just hand them out the piece of paper and a pencil, and everybody sit around the fire and just run a little goal setting exercise. I don't think it matters what exercise you use. I really don't. But I think that what we were taught is whatever areas of your life you want to focus on, right? Family, work, if they're kids, it's school, money, love life, spirituality, yourself, and I guess the last one would be friends, right? Those are some areas you could use and choose from. And the first step for me always is the brainstorming exercise, right? to get you in the right mindset. So for us, we like to write down what's frustrating us in each one of those areas. What's something that's frustrating you about money? Like Robyn, what's something that's frustrating you about, let's say, family, if you're willing to share? What's something that frustrates you about family?
I do not. We've really gotten off track on our weekly and or monthly like dinner plan. Like our family has grown to a place where it's harder for everybody to get together all at one time. And so we've let that go by the wayside a little bit this year instead of being more intentional with a plan.
Yeah. Right. So something that frustrates you is you don't get everybody together at once anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can see that bugging you because people who know you will know that you're one of the best family people I've ever met. When I go to your house, there's 32 dogs, 67 chickens. The neighbors are over there. There's kids running around in little diapers with nothing else on. It's nuts, which I love that kind of chaos, by the way. I friggin' love chaos like that. I come from a super small family, so when I get in those big ones, I'm like, this is awesome. People are squabbling. It's the best. And so, like, her frustration would be the brainstorming exercise, and then what goal would you set? So that then, like, the idea is the goal you set is to solve the frustration, right, in the exercise. So what goal would you set around that?
I would set a once a month kind of set in stone date that everybody was aware of for the next 12 months of when we were going to have an all-family dinner, if you will, and everybody was aware of kind of what they were bringing, what they were doing, what the theme was, so that there was engagement from everybody coming in. And maybe on occasion that lands in a month where there's Christmas, and that's kind of an automatic, but all the other months that they understood, so that at a minimum, once every 30 days, we are all together as a large group, because I think it's a huge blessing, and I don't want that to fall apart as the family continues to expand. Yeah.
And then there are two things to get that done. So the first one is share it. Share the goal. Okay? Whatever your goal is, don't be scared to share it out loud. Share it. Let everybody in your family know, hey, my goal is that we're all getting together once a month, third Thursday at my house at 6 o'clock. The second step, I think, to getting goals done is to get help. Right? For you, I happen to know you have an executive assistant. So I would have your executive assistant. I would put, if I was coaching you, I'd say, have your executive assistant send out an invitation, an invite by email to all of them. And then 2 days before, put it in your assistant's calendar, or not maybe your calendar, to send a family text out. See you at 5 o'clock on Thursday, to send a text out a couple days before and the morning of. And if you just did those things, eventually they'd all be there. That's goal setting. That's how I was taught. And just doing it with my family and getting my kids involved, man, that's how to do it.
I love it. I love it. Robyn, a couple tips from you on goal setting.
Yeah, I think I'll say a couple things. You know, Jimmy, one of the things that you talked about, and this is, you know, if you have kids, if you have a significant other, if you have a roommate, like you can do this with anybody, right? You can do it all by yourself even. And I think that I'll make a couple quick statements. One, when you do engage, especially with the younger generations in general, things are caught, not taught. And so when they at a young age can see not only goal setting, but then goals become something that are achieved, I think that is just a massive win in paying it forward, right? That it makes sense to look forward to things, but also give yourself some accountability, conversation, those kind of things, and really make it a practice to have something in writing, if you will, and then everybody's aware of that you're trying to achieve. I think that's a big win. The other is, if you want to win once, you set a goal. When you want to win over and over again, you make a plan, right? And so if you want to have a great year in 2024, you make a plan. And if things don't go quite as planned, that's okay. At least you have a plan that even if you have to deviate a little bit, you know, hey, for the most part, I was to achieve this, right? And so I know that I'm guilty of all the goal setting that I do. On a great year, I achieve about 80%. Like, it's never 100 for everything that you do. And I think a lot of people get afraid of putting a bunch of stuff down, because what if I don't achieve it? Well, even if you achieved one, you're probably better off than you were the year before, right? Even if you achieve one, even if you come close to hitting a few of the others, you've at least grown as a reflection of that. Todd, you do a beautiful job of planning your whole year in advance. And I think that's one of the things you really taught me. And I'll give some silly examples, but some that caused me pain for a while. I always filed an extension on my taxes. I always was last minute Christmas shopping. I was last minute trying to figure out what we were going to do for a vacation, if you will. Maybe that's a staycation, whatever it is. And it felt very reactive. And when you're reactive, it's often adding stress, and it takes the joy out of something that could potentially be fantastic, or adds, a set of problems, if you will, that you didn't need to have. And you really helped me, Todd, as a leader of, hey, file your taxes on time. It's pretty simple. We know what it's going to be. And if you have the right plan in place, you can file on time every single year and no longer have to worry about it through October instead of be done with it in, at the latest April. That was a huge difference for me. So I've never, literally in the last 10 years since you have taught me this, filed taxes late one time. I've always filed on time because I simply have a plan in place. And so sometimes these are, you feel like plans and goals should be only around things that are super fun or super rewarding. I lost all this weight, or I did this, or I did this. Sometimes it's even the smallest thing that will just make life a little easier, right? Make things feel a little better throughout the year. And that could be as small as talking to a family member on the phone or on Zoom once a month. Maybe it's that you journal and gratitude every single day, or do something, minimal like that. There are so many different things that you could put. And so plans can be big or small. Goals can be big or small according to what you want. But little things, just preparedness in general, allows for the likelihood of things happening and happening smooth and well to be so much greater than when we're left to our own distractions and devices, if you will, and having no plan at all on what 2024 is going to be.
Those are really good tips, guys, and I totally agree. I'll close out by adding one thing that I started about 5 years ago, is I started putting a theme, like on top of my goals, I put a theme. What was the most important thing for me to focus on that year?
Oh.
And in previous years, some years it's been love life. This last year we're just finishing was I really wanted to learn marketing. So every free moment I was listening to podcasts about marketing, YouTubes, reading books, hiring coaches. Like that was a theme for me because I felt like that was something I really want to get a lot better at. So I think I've added a theme for the year because in a world that like paws at you for distractions all the time, I found it harder and harder to stay super focused on an overall goal. The first year I ever did it was the year that I lost 40 pounds. And that was my theme for the year. It was physical fitness. So having those themes I have found helps me because whenever I have a free moment, I go straight to the theme and I really make real considerable progress on that. And then there's other the small and big things that happen on the actual goals themselves. So really good, guys. I think that without a plan, we feel a little lost.
Yeah.
And also, don't be so concerned about achieving every single thing. You won't. And take it in stride. But if you hit 70, 80%, and then 70, 80% the next year, 70, 80% the next year, you're going to look back in 3 years and say, whoa, my life is way better.
Totally.
And that's what we're talking about. It's our life and it's short. So let's live it. Okay.
Awesome.
Robyn, Jim, thank you very much. You guys are awesome. Thank you, past clients. Please come back. Please keep coming back to us. We love your business and it warms our hearts. And you have built this entire company based on you. So thank you very much. Have a great month.